Anthony was at a loss as to why his son Mike was returning home hungry each and every day. He always carried a lunchbox with him when they sent him to school, and it ought to have had enough food to keep the little child fed. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. To exacerbate the situation, little Mike appeared afraid when his parents asked him about it. Anthony chose to ask the school if they knew what was going on since he was concerned about the circumstances. However, the principal was equally ignorant of the situation as Anthony was. They changed their strategy and asked Mike's classmates, but they were informed by the other pupils that Mike never brought lunch from home. Anthony was really startled to learn this. The fact that Mike's family wasn't wealthy and the other pupils assumed he didn't have food perplexed him. Mike started weeping when he was called out of class and asked about the meal, which only made his parents feel worse. However, he provided no information. The clue was revealed to them by the instructor who entered after them. She reported to the principal and Anthony about a new substitute teacher who was acting strangely around Mike. Clive, the replacement teacher, was summoned into the principal's office right away. Clive's expression altered as he saw Anthony seated. When the principal brought up Mike and his circumstances, Clive said he didn't know what they were talking about. Anthony granted the principal's request to talk with Clive in private. However, his misgivings about Clive were validated when a different instructor, who had entered the room to console Anthony, informed him that she believed Clive was plotting. Anthony knew he had to take immediate action, but things didn't work out the way he had anticipated. The mood had changed when Anthony was called back into the principal's office. Anthony was told by the principal that there was nothing he could do about the problem because there was no proof. Their hands were constrained since Mike would not tell them what was going on and Clive would not admit to knowing anything. The two decided that if they wanted the situation to end, they would need to come up with a fresh strategy. Things appeared to worsen throughout the course of the following several days. Mike made it appear as though Anthony's visit to the principal made things worse by refusing to speak with his parents. Anthony thought it would be better to handle things on his own because he could no longer wait. He drove to the school the very following day and faced Clive. He felt more worse than he had before he went to the school, full with worry for his son. Anthony had an amazing idea when he arrived home. He typed Clive's entire name into Google in the hopes of finding any information. He was shocked to see that the individual was only mentioned on one web page. Prior to joining Mike's school, he had worked at this elementary school. The school's website had Clive listed as one of its teachers, but it also stated that he was no longer employed there. He made the decision to give the school a call to find out more, but after receiving the information, his worries skyrocketed. Anthony was aware that something odd was undoubtedly happening, and it was all related to his son's instructor. For what reason was his kid hiding things from him? He knew the teacher had something to do with his lunch disappearing every day. For the sake of his son, he felt he had to come up with a rapid solution. That's when Anthony started thinking of a strategy. He began by talking to the principal. Perhaps he might still be of use. Anthony planned to bring his concerns to the attention of the school's top official. He knew that something may come of it all if he at least informed the principal of the circumstances. Even though his assistant informed Anthony that he required an appointment, Anthony nonetheless entered the principal's office. He astonished the principal when he approached him while seated in his chair. Anthony greeted the principal before she could say anything. "Hello, I'm sure you know me. My name is Michael's dad. Regarding a teacher, I have some grievances." Anthony told the principal everything he thought may be wrong. He shook his head after giving off a worried face. Obviously, there was a problem. "I'm sorry," the principal responded, giving Anthony a hard look. "Without any proof, there isn't much I can do." But Anthony could feel his blood pressure rising. Could he truly take no action? Anthony left the workplace in a hurry and without anything. The principal refused to change his demand for proof. He came to the conclusion that he would need to act alone. As Anthony headed home, he was furious, but his mind was already working up a strategy. Though he was aware of the extreme danger, he understood exactly what would benefit his son. Anthony was prepared to move through with his plan the next day. he placed a little item inside the front pouch of his son's backpack while he was getting ready for school. After his kid down the stairs and finished his meal, the two of them departed for school. Anthony sent him on his way, grinning to himself at his cunning. At last, the teacher's secret would be revealed. Anthony had hidden a camera in his son's rucksack. He would have the ability to capture every exchange between his son and the instructor on camera. He dropped him off and headed for work. Anthony's only option while at work was to wait. His employer even questioned him about why he was smiling the entire time. But the reason was because he knew the instructor would soon be pleading with him for forgiveness. When Anthony picked up Mike from school later that day, he skillfully removed the recorder from the backpack. He inquired about his son's day, but his expression was dejected once more. Anthony realized then that he was acting appropriately. After getting the recorder out and playing it again, he realized what needed to be done after hearing his son's and teacher's interaction. Anthony scheduled a meeting for the next day by giving the principal a call. He clarified that he has the proof that would completely unravel the case. Anthony only needed to bide his time till that encounter. He would make sure that the teacher's secret was out, and he was now as arrogant as ever. In the end, his kid would beg him not to, but how could he be a good father if he didn't shield his son? Anthony sat in the principal's office with Mike the next day after school. The teacher, Clive, also arrived after a 5-minute delay. It appeared as though he was unaware of what was about to happen. Anthony posed the crucial question, "Should I play the recording for you, Principal?" with a satisfied smile. After obtaining authorization, Anthony began playing the tape. He heard his voice on the recording and saw the teacher become pale. He could tell that his face was completely devoid of blood. At last, he would receive his just desserts for the harm he had caused to his kid. He simply sat back in contentment after that. Everyone was shocked by what they heard. They heard Mike hand Clive his lunch, but they also heard him go up to another youngster. After that, Clive gave the other youngster the food. Mike gave the principal an explanation of what was happening after a brief period of bewilderment. But the ultimate twist, that would be. At last, Mike revealed to the class the truth. He worked with his instructor to provide one of his students with lunch each day. This occurred as a result of the child's inability to pay for his own meal. Clive was pleased with Mike for giving up his lunch in this situation in order to help a less fortunate student. Mike was ashamed and didn't want anybody to find out. Anthony made 2 sandwiches for his kid. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.